What is a morning power hour? That is today's viewer question. It actually comes from two people. One was one of my colleagues. I was sitting in a meeting at work the other day, and we were trying to schedule a meeting, and she happened to look at my Google Calendar that I had open, and she said, "What does AMPH stand for?" Because I have it scheduled every day. And I said, "That's my AM power hour." I also have one that's PMPH, which is usually about a half an hour. That's my evening power hour. So she asked me, what do you do in your power hours? I had a similar question actually come in from a client. She wanted to know how I start my day to get off on the right foot. So I thought I would just tackle both questions today in today's video. So let's talk about the morning power hour. So you know that I am a huge proponent of self-care. I get that you're busy. I'm busy too. However, what I've learned is that I am most productive not when I roll out of bed and get on email. That tends to get me into some like hamster wheel, anxiety-provoking state that's actually not productive. Instead, what I've found is that I do my best work if I start my day with what I call my morning power hour. I've been doing this for years. I've borrowed concepts throughout the years as I've listened to experts who also do morning power hours, people like Brendan Burchard or Gay Hendricks, or even my friend Lori Andrus over at Priestess Pathway. And we all do it a little bit differently, but we all agree that really your first hour of the day sets the tone for the day. So if you get out of bed and you're immediately in go, go, go frenetic mode, guess what? Your day is going to be go, go, go frenetic mode. And that certainly has been true for me. So several years ago, I decided I was going to start experimenting. And when I first started experimenting, I did not do a whole hour because the idea of taking an hour out of my day, out of my morning, which was already busy enough to ground and center and settle and prepare for the day, just seemed like I can't do that. That's way too much. So if that's where you're at right now, start with 5 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you what I do on my morning power hour in the hopes that maybe some of it will resonate with you. Maybe you can't do a whole hour. Maybe you can do half an hour. Maybe you can do 10 minutes. Maybe you can do 5 minutes. But the idea is that you start your day from a place of grounding and centering and not from a place of frenetic energy. And I think you'll find you're a lot more productive throughout the day. So what do I do in my morning power hour? So I roll out of bed and I take my dogs for a walk around the neighborhood. And so that takes, depending on the day, somewhere between 10 minutes and 30 minutes. It's currently, 20-something degrees and snowing, so I did the 10-minute version this morning because I am not a huge fan of cold weather. So that just kind of depends on the day. And when I get home from that walk, so I move my body. For you, maybe it's going to be a run, maybe it's going to be yoga, maybe it's just going to be gentle stretching. Maybe that just doesn't resonate with you. Maybe morning movement doesn't sound appealing to you at all, and that's fine. I'm just telling you this is how I start my day. So first, I move my body. That takes somewhere between 10 and 30 minutes, depending on the day. Come home, I feed the dogs, which doesn't take that long, and then I sit on the couch. This is my quiet sanctuary. At this point, my man has already left for the day, and so I really have the house to myself. And I get that that may not be your scenario. You may have kids running around, you may have a spouse running around, you may have roommates there. So maybe the couch in the middle of the den is not a quiet sanctuary for you in the morning. But maybe you can sequester yourself in the bedroom, or even before you even get out of bed in the morning, do some quiet reflection. So whatever works for you, just telling you what I do. So I sit on the couch and I do a number of things. The first thing I do is I grab my journal. So this is my current journal. I go through them pretty quickly because I journal just about every day. And I just write down whatever is on the front of my mind, just like blah, basically. I follow loosely Julia Cameron's suggestions from her book, The Artist Way. She calls them morning pages, and she suggests that you journal unstopped for 3 pages. I typically don't do that. That's one thing that I'm just like, it's the time that I put into that doesn't work for me, but I do typically journal for half a page to a page. And so I'll journal about whatever I'm feeling, what's going on, any dreams that I had that were weird that I want to take note of. And I have a number of reflection questions that I have gathered throughout the years that I ask myself. So things like, what do I need to nourish my soul today? What's going to make me feel supported today? What's my body telling me? What is my mind telling me? What is my heart saying? What's going on for me emotionally right now? I then do a 10-minute guided meditation where I focus on my breathing, I ground, I center, I clear my chakras, I write down as part of that guided meditation things that I'm grateful for, so I start my morning in gratitude. And then I make my list of what I call my 3 most important tasks for the day. So for that, I grab my trusty, and I've talked about this a couple of weeks ago, my trusty Leonie Dawson Create Your Shining Year diary. Well used, right? So I explained a few weeks ago how I use this, but basically to recap, on Sunday afternoon I go through and I spend about 30 minutes planning my week, and I write down for each day everything that I want to accomplish that day. So when I do my 3 most important tasks, what I do is I get my planner out, I check in with my heart space, I consult what was on my to-do list for that day, and sometimes what my heart tells me is not even on the list. These are things that have come up that I hadn't planned on doing when I was planning my week, on Sunday afternoon, and today is Wednesday. But there are things that have come up that my heart's like, you need to do this today. And so I allow my heart space to guide what are the 3 most important things that I need to do today to help create the life I desire. And sometimes those will be 3 things that are on the list, and sometimes there'll be 3 things that aren't on the list, and sometimes it'll be some things that were on the list and some that weren't. The key is I limit it to 3 because it's really hard for me to actually focus and get more than 3 things done in the course of a normal day, on top of all the other preparing meals for families, answering emails, attending meetings, doing my job, that kind of stuff, right? So 3 most important tasks, and I write those down. And then I finish my day or my morning power hour, not the day, by pulling up a goddess oracle card. And I have a variety of decks that I use. I've got 5 or 6 different decks of cards. The one that I'm using right now is the Goddess Oracle. And so I just shuffle my deck and I usually set an intention, and I ask a question like, what do I need to know today? What do I need to remember today? What do I need to focus on today? I shuffle my deck and then I pull a card. And so the thing that I love about the Goddess Oracle cards, which is my current favorite, although it rotates, depends on whatever, is that in addition to the cards, today I pulled Minerva. In addition to the card, the book actually has a little description about the message behind the card. It has some reflection questions that go with the card. And it actually has usually a suggested meditation or a suggested reflection ceremony or something you can do to really dive deep. And so I may or may not actually do all of the things in here, but I do pull a card to just get an idea of what do I really need to focus on today. And then I will put that card for the day on my desk after I finish my morning power hour, so that as I go throughout my day, I see it and I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to remember to come back to that. So that is my morning power hour. I then close my day out and I go and take my shower, and usually while I'm taking a shower, I will kind of do an extended power hour. And this is a really easy way for you to start. Tony Robbins calls it net time, no extra time. So while I'm taking a shower, driving to work, I will listen to a podcast, an inspiring telesummit interview, something that will again help me set the tone for the day. So I have some favorite podcasts that I subscribe to and listen to. There's always telesummits going on. Woman Unleashed 5 is about to start, so I'm really excited about that. I'll be tuning into that every day during my net time, my no extra time. So 2 questions in one. What's my AM Power Hour and how do I do it? And then how do you carve out time for that? So start where you are. If you currently have no AM routine, then start with 5 minutes. And maybe it's a simple checking in, asking yourself some reflection questions. Maybe it's just breathing for 5 minutes. Maybe it's just kind of making your 3 MIPs for the day, your most important task for the day. Maybe it's moving your body for a few minutes. But that's what I do to really set my tone for an awesome day. This is something that I've been working with, cultivating, refining for several years now. And so I found that I really enjoy my full power hour. And then I usually add, my shower time, my nap time by listening to, or my commute to work, by listening to a podcast or something else that's inspirational to kind of keep that going. So I hope that answers your question, and I hope that you found that helpful. It's Dr. Mary. Keep the questions coming in. And if you want to know how to get a Leonie Dawson planner, or if you want to join me for the Woman Unleashed retreat next week, you can find those links below. Much love, and I will see you next time.